Have you ever noticed that what people say they want in a partner and who they're actually attracted to don't always line up? Well, today we're going to deconstruct attraction and really dig into why the skills that spark a new connection are often completely different from the ones that make a relationship last. Okay, so let's just dive right in with a question that seems simple but is actually super tricky. What do women really, truly want in a partner? Now, you've probably heard this standard list of answers a million times, but there's this one critical piece of the puzzle that almost always gets left out, and honestly, it changes everything. Right, you always hear the same list: kindness, feeling safe, being loving and generous. And look, all of that is absolutely true. Women want those things. But here's the massive twist. Those qualities don't create the initial spark. They are the qualities someone wants in a partner they are already attracted to. And that distinction, well, that's the whole ballgame. And that right there, that leads us to what you could call an attraction blind spot. See, a lot of people try to lead with how great of a long-term partner they'd be, but that's kind of skipping a crucial first step. You have to nail the top of the funnel first. You've got to spark that initial attraction. Now look, some of the basics for sparking attraction are pretty obvious, right? Things like your personal style, being physically fit, just general hygiene. That's kind of the price of admission. But the real leverage, the one skill that can totally change the game for you, it's learning how to talk. It's all about communicating in a way that actually connects with someone. This idea right here completely flips the script on the notion that attraction is just about looks. The argument is that the mind is actually the most vulnerable point, that it's the real erogenous zone. So if you can learn to communicate in a way that truly captivates someone's mind, you're building a connection that's so much deeper than just the physical. So what does learn how to talk actually mean in practice? And look, this is not about memorizing cheesy pickup lines or having some kind of script. No, it's about understanding that there are two totally different ways to communicate. And most of us, well, we pretty much just default to one of them. Okay, let's break these two modes down. On one side, you've got your classic informational or masculine style communication. The goal here is super simple: get facts from point A to point B. Success is just, did you understand me? But on the other side, you've got this experiential or feminine style communication. And here, the goal is completely different. It isn't to be understood, it's to be felt. It's about creating a shared emotional experience. And that is what we call emotional resonance. It has nothing to do with logic. It's all about provoking a feeling. I mean, think about it. When you tell a great story to a friend, is your main goal for them to just memorize the facts of what happened? Or is it for them to feel the excitement you felt, or the suspense, or the pure joy? That's the difference we're talking about. And this tuning fork analogy, wow, it just nails it, doesn't it? It perfectly captures the idea. Communication becomes about the vibe, about literally resonating at the same frequency. It's not just about the words coming out of your mouth, but the emotional energy you're putting out there, trying to create this shared feeling. Okay, so let's say you've done it. You've mastered this art of attraction and you've created that initial spark. So what happens next? This is where so many people hit a wall, because the path from that initial fantasy to a real, actual relationship involves a stage that most of us try our best to avoid: disappointment. And you've got to get this next part, because it's critical. The skills that get a partner, the marketing, the attraction, the fun, are fundamentally different from the skills that keep a partner. That's all about substance and real compatibility. You're actually solving two completely separate problems. I mean, think about it. When you first meet someone, you're not really attracted to them. You don't know them. You're attracted to a fantasy, an idea that you've projected onto them. You're basically filling in all the blanks with your own hopes and dreams. And this is why, by the way, a classic first date mistake is to just overshare and dump all your info. You can accidentally shatter that idealized image, which was the very thing they were attracted to in the first place. So this creates this journey that feels, well, almost backward. For any relationship to become real, it has to go through this crisis where the initial fantasy gets shattered. It could be a big fight, or it could just be the slow drip, drip, drip of tiny little disappointments. But only after that illusion is gone can a real relationship actually begin. And this right here is the absolute heart of it. Until you see the other person for who they really are, flaws and all, you're not in a relationship with them. You're in a relationship with an idea in your head. So that moment of disappointment, that shattering of the fantasy, that's not the end. That is the real beginning. All right, this brings us to our final section, and honestly, this is where things get really, really complicated. We're going to look at the unique pressures and paradoxes that make modern relationships so incredibly challenging. So, we're all trying to date in what some people call a dysregulated marketplace. With dating apps and social media, our options feel almost infinite. Now, according to some data, one result of this is that a pretty small percentage of men, maybe the top 10%, are having a really disproportionate number of sexual encounters. And that creates a tough dynamic, where a few people have endless options, while a lot of others are finding it way harder to connect. At a really fundamental level, you can view a relationship as a kind of value exchange. And let's be super clear here. We are not just talking about money. Value is anything we want from another person. It could be their time, their support, a sense of adventure, or security. It's a simple truth. We move toward people we want something from. And this all leads us to the central, massive paradox of modern love. We expect one person to fill two completely contradictory roles for us. On the one hand, we want stability, right? The safe, predictable, comfortable companion. But at the same time, we crave passion, the risky, spontaneous, exciting lover. How on earth can one person be both our safe anchor and a wild lightning storm? What's so wild about this is that this kind of pressure is totally new. Historically, we never asked one person to meet all these different needs. You had your family and your community for stability, you had your friends for novelty and excitement, but as those traditional support networks have kind of faded, we've put this almost impossible burden on our romantic partner to be our entire village all rolled into one person. And so that leaves us with this final, really provocative question to chew on. In a world where we ask one single person to be both our safe harbor and our wild open sea, are we setting our relationships and maybe even ourselves up for an impossible task?